Hey guys, it's Alix.
And Kayla.
And we're married, not related, definitely codependent.
But in a cute way. And my wife got the intro right today.
Snaps for Alix.
Okay. Also, if you listen to the last episode, you might be familiar with the words jizz stain. We're bringing it up again. Because when I sat down...
We're not bringing it up again. I never want to ever hear this again.
Because when we sat down, you said, you have a jizz stain. That's what you said.
Well,
and so then I looked.
That sounds like a personal problem.
I looked and I do. And I said, well, can you see it in the camera? And you said no. So let me know if you can see it in the camera. This is not from a toothpaste. This is, Lord knows what that's from. But
it's a jizz stain.
Okay. Welcome to the show, everyone.
We're back.
And how do we like to start our show, honey?
We like to tell people thank you.
Yes.
For subscribing and for leaving us comments and for sending us your hilarious stories and controversial takes that you have.
Yes, just all of it, because we are co-creating this show together.
Yes.
Us and the Sister Wives, we're a team. We're doing this together. And something I will say that has been coming up a lot, especially in the last few weeks. I want to give a little update about Queer Camp.
Oh, yeah.
So anybody who doesn't already know, we split our time between California and Nicaragua. We have a retreat center here in Nicaragua. That's where we are right now. Mm-hmm. Just on a total side note, if you are watching this on YouTube, it does become a bit of a production problem because these plants are real, okay? In Encinitas, we have fake plants, and these ones are real. So we have to be moving them around to keep chasing the sun because we're in this dark studio room. And maybe you just heard that gecko chirping at us. We are here in Nicaragua.
We're in the jungle.
So Alix and I met in Nicaragua 6 years ago. If you want to hear that origin story, episode 1 is your best friend. And we have a retreat center here. I'm a yoga teacher, have had a retreat business for a super long time. And we opened our doors here 4 years ago. Mm-hmm. And now we rent out our space to all different kinds of, not just yoga teachers, but also we have surf people come. Well, my dream, if any of you are queer...
Writing retreats come.
If any of you are queer travel hosts of any kind, please book with us, because I want a queer group to come here. Just 100% the gays at a gay-owned hotel.
Love it.
But yeah, so we have surfers and bird watchers and just nature, adventure, travel lovers, all different kinds of retreats come. And we really wanted to do a queer camp because of exactly what I just said. We want a group of all queers here, and fully built it out. We're doing queer camp in May, made everything, didn't launch it. And then things in our life changed, as they have been the last 3 years, around all of our fertility stuff, and just realized the mental capacity for that is not possible right now. The emotional capacity for that is not possible. So as of now, Queer Camp it doesn't have a set date. A lot of you have been messaging being like, when is Queer Camp? I'm so excited for it.
We're waiting to launch it.
Yes.
We're trying to decide on what potential dates could be.
But either A, you can create your own Queer Camp. Because our space is here for you to rent out. Or B, you can just come and stay as an Airbnb or hotel guest. So I said this in the last episode, but
or join one of the retreats that are happening all the time from other people who are leading them. We have surf retreats happening in April and May. We have all sorts of stuff going on. Yoga retreats.
And bring some of your queer friends if but it is a very queer friendly place. Obviously it's a gay owned hotel, and we'll put the link to our place. It's called So Salty in the show notes, so you can see all of the retreats we have if you like any of those. Or you can email Still Salty directly and just come and stay as that's like a queer hotel guest, hotel guest.
Yeah, and it's awesome. We're here right now, and we love getting to meet all the guests that come through. And we say, there's always queer people that are coming through the retreats every single week, and it's awesome, and they get so stoked when they find out that it's gay-owned.
And it's just, we're obviously biased, but we love Nicaragua so much. And where we are, there's so much to do. There are so many activities, I swear. I don't know how people don't go home more tired than when they came, because people go so hard on the activities, from boating and fishing and surfing and horseback riding and turtle release.
Volcano hiking,
volcano sandboarding, yoga,
everything.
cooking class, farm tour, you know, it's like there's so much to do. So if you're also just a traveler, come. And if you're a chiller, come hang out by the pool and the beach. It's a beautiful place. We love you. We want to meet you.
It'd be awesome.
Yes.
We want sister wives in Nika.
We just want, that sounds hilarious.
All right. Well, I don't know if you know this, but it's my turn to lead.
Yeah, I know.
So I'm going to give you some sentences.
Yes.
And it's kind of like, do you remember the game Mad Libs?
Yeah.
Where there's like a blank in the sentence and you have to fill in the blank?
Except it was like a verb, adverb, noun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not that, but it's like a fill in the blank situation.
Okay. I can handle that.
Okay. And what you're going to see is they're very body image focused because today's topic is around body image.
Yes. This has been a requested topic from a lot of, I know most of our listeners are women, and we know that body image tends to impact women more so than men. Obviously, it still impacts men, but there's been a lot of interesting discussion around body image in lesbian relationships specifically, because it's like two women with two different kinds of body image issues coming together. So I'm excited to talk about this.
Yeah. Okay. I believe my body was something I had to blank before I deserved affection.
Ooh. Affection. I guess my body had to be, or my body...
My body was something I had to blank before I deserved affection.
I would just like modify the sentence slightly to say like I thought my body had to be perfect. You know? Mm-hmm. So like my body wasn't, it's not a verb, it's an adverb.
I thought confidence meant blank, but now I think it means blank.
Oh. In relation to body image? So, okay, I thought confidence meant, you know, it's kind of back to perfect. It's like just looking shredded, you know, or like being really defined or just like super hot, flawless kind of. But now I know it's actually just about, it's more about how you feel, less about how you look and more about how you feel.
I felt pressured to look more blank to be taken seriously as a queer person.
Oh, to look more gay. Right? Yeah, I feel...
What does that mean?
I mean, I think with women, it's usually to look more gay, in quotes, it's usually more either like a little bit more Masc, kind of tomboy-ish, or almost like edgy. You know, when I think of like Gen Z style, where you're like, are they gay or are they Gen Z? It's that like edgy kind of look. And I'm clearly not. I'm wearing a J. Crew t-shirt and jeans right now, so there's that.
I compare my body to blank when I'm feeling insecure.
I feel like I compare my body, not just my body, but all comparison. I'm the worst with comparing it to myself, if that makes sense, than other people. Because I don't expect...
Like previous ways that you've looked?
Yeah, because I don't... It's like, I know I'm not a model, you know, and I'm 5'3", and it's like, I don't want to look like a reality star or a housewife or, you know, like that's not what I'm even trying to emulate. It's more like I just want to look like when I thought I looked the best, so I compare mostly to myself.
I felt safer dating people who were blank than me.
Bigger? Yeah.
Like taller or physically bigger? Like weighed more than you or
both.
like...
Yeah, that's why I said bigger. Otherwise I would have just said taller. Height, I told you, height doesn't really bother me that much. You thought I was lying. I've dated some short kings.
But would you date anyone shorter than you?
I don't know if I've met anyone
You always think you're taller than everyone.
I know. But genuinely, I'm like, no, I've obviously...
She's 5'3" and she thinks she's taller than everyone.
I've obviously met women who are shorter than me, but I wasn't interested in them. Not because of their height. It's just like, I just wasn't.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever met a guy that was shorter than me.
No.
So, I mean, you know, I had a boyfriend in high school who was probably 5'4", And I've been 5'3" since I was 12 years old. So, yeah.
Okay.
What you got?
I didn't realize how much blank shaped what I thought was hot.
Oh, I'm like, how honest should I be right now? I didn't realize how much. I'm like trying to think of a concise way to say this or a way that doesn't sound weird, but it's like my mom's opinion shaped the way of whatever things I thought were hot, just because she's had a very intense opinion about not as much hotness, but just like beauty when it comes to body image. Mm-hmm. And I didn't always realize sometimes the thoughts or the voice in my head wasn't my voice. Those were her words and her actual voice.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I avoid blank because it makes me aware of my body.
I don't know. I mean, if I'm really not feeling myself, it's usually less about my body and more about my face. Like when my face is looking crazy. It usually happens. It's like when I've been very stressed, if I've been crying, if I'm feeling like just not good, mm-hmm. I might avoid mirrors. Mm-hmm. But it's not like something I do on a regular basis. So mm-hmm. I don't think there's anything on a regular basis I avoid mm-hmm. because of my body.
I'm still unlearning how to be seen when. Or I'm still unlearning how to blank without guilt.
What? You just gave me two back to back. I was still struggling with the first
one. If you felt like that one was better or something, I don't know.
Okay, what was the second one?
I'm still unlearning how to blank without guilt.
Oh, I think sometimes it can still happen. It's like I'm a very active person, and sometimes, I mean, you almost kind of joke how you're like, yeah, we don't have 3 dogs, I have 4 because I need to walk you just as much. Because on a very physical level, if I don't exert a certain amount of physical energy every day, I have a hard time sleeping at night. Like, it's like it does impact me.
She's not exaggerating.
So I have to like get it out. But then other times I can feel not as energetic, and like I can rest now without guilt, but sometimes it's not really like omnipresent or anything, but sometimes I'm like, if I'm really hungry and I haven't exercised either at all or like not in the same way I usually do, but I can't, when you feel like you cannot fill the hole in your stomach and I keep eating to try to fill the hole, it can make me feel some type of way of like, why am I even so hungry? I didn't even do anything. It's like connected to that belief of like, you have to earn your food through exercise. Mm-hmm. But it's not, like I said, it's not this like thing that is ruling me, but it can be there sometimes.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Do you want to do, okay, I was going to say, do you want to do one more? But
no, I liked that.
Okay.
I think that was a good ending. Okay. So we're talking about body image, mm-hmm. and, we're both women, and we're both queer, and I think, like, both of those add different lenses to the mix. Yeah. So I don't know exactly how we begin this conversation.
You're the one with the iPad.
But I think it's like, I don't know if you felt this because this is maybe more of a recent experience for you, like kind of coming out or like being part of the queer world.
It's been 6 years, but okay.
It's still like more recent for you.
I will never not be a baby gay in your eyes. I'll be like on my deathbed and you're like, oh my God, you're so cute and you don't know anything.
But it's like, it's interesting because like, I think image in the queer world is so different from image in the straight world.
Yeah.
Like, in a lot of ways.
Well, with the caveat, we're talking about gay women, because gay men is very different. Very different. Because they're centering men, but gay women are decentering men. So it's different.
Like, for example, like, I think, like, what I always felt like was one of the coolest parts about, like, coming into the queer world was, like, it was more about like your unique sense of style and like this like edginess or like
just self-expression.
And it was more about like the energy and the vibe that you exude.
It's confidence.
Yeah, and
to
the
be
confidence
yourself.
than it was about like how hot some guy thought you might look.
Right.
Or like how hot some other girl in your friend group who dresses just like you might think you look. Like sorority-esque vibes, you know? Where like people look very conforming in a way where it's like maybe objectively that's attractive or beautiful to people, but like in the queer world it's like a lot of things that may not be like objectively attractive are attractive because of like the energy or the vibe or like your self-expression, the way you're expressing yourself is coming out.
I think
how did you like feel when you kind of saw that?
Okay, well, I would say that I think I think what you're talking about is confidence, and confidence is attractive regardless of if you're gay or straight. And so that does happen in the straight world too, or a straight person. If they're confident but they have a kind of a kooky style, it's hot because they are just being themselves, their whole ass self. You know what I mean? And I think we see that in the same but kind of different way in the queer world, where it's like self-expression is such a big part of queer culture because historically that has been oppressed, because if you actually express the way that you are, it was dangerous, you know? You would become a target in some ways. And now the world that we live in, at least, I mean, we're from the States and not every country is like this, but it's like it's a little bit safer, or a lot, depending on where you live, to express yourself as you feel, you know? So I think that is attractive regardless of being gay or straight.
Yeah.
Whereas like it's easy to be hot by showing more of your body, let's say for a woman, right? Or it's easy to be hot, man or woman, if you have a six pack, if you know, like these superficial things where it's like, yeah, if that girl has an amazing ass, or even not an amazing ass, but she's wearing booty shorts, or, you know, and like the more you're showing of your body, it's like, well, it's almost like this easy way to be hot instead of like, but is that who you actually feel like? Do those booty shorts really feel like you? You know what I mean? Which it kind of reminds me of like when you say your favorite thing that I wear is an outfit like this, jeans and a t-shirt. You're like, you just look so hot. And I'm like, yeah, because I'm like, that's the most comfortable I feel. And it's like baggy jeans. Yeah. You know, it's like when I feel comfortable.
Baggy jeans and your white crop tee.
Yeah.
Just sets my heart on fire.
And if I wash my hair, like all bets
game
are
over.
off.
Game over. I can't work that day.
So sad. The bar is in hell. I'm so sorry. But yeah, so I think that is true for anyone. It's the same way like with you, you know, when we first got together, you still had long hair, which is so crazy to think about. And I don't know, it's just like I don't care. It's like I feel more attracted to you with short hair because you are more yourself, not because your hair is short. You know what I mean? Yeah. Whereas like if all of a sudden you're like, I want to grow out my hair again, and that felt like you and you were doing it for you, then I would feel that same level of attraction. But it's less about like the thing that is happening, you know? Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's like the full self-expression is what's attractive.
Yeah, and somebody just like choosing themselves.
Feeling that comfort in your own
skin. And owning themselves. Yes, it's just like it is.
That's super hot.
It's hot, and it's even, and not even just like sexually hot, but it's it's like even friends. It's like you want to be around people like that. Yeah. Who know who they are.
I know.
Because that's rare.
But like was there anything that was hard for you when we first started dating, or like being with women compared to like being with guys, like from a body image perspective? Like, was there anything that felt harder or like made you think about things more? Yeah, I had never, you know, like I told you, there was like I had really casually dated this girl before, and I think she was actually shorter than me. If I think about photos. Honey, was she, or did you just think she was?
No, we can look at, she was, if she wasn't, then we were the same. Like, she was not a tall person, though. She was, remember I showed you a photo recently, and I was like, oh my God, she's shorter than me. Okay. Didn't we? I think whatever. It doesn't matter.
I don't remember, but I do remember her being a small person.
Yeah, she was small. And, but I don't know, like, her personality and like she felt bigger somehow. And she was also very like, she was super strong. She was like a really good surfer and on this like tiny board, and she would like scale up a coconut tree and just like cut a coconut down with a machete. So it's like she was small, but I don't know, there was something that felt, I guess like those are almost more like masculine type of qualities. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I don't know, like body wise, if I feel like our bodies were probably kind of like similar size. And this was also super casual. It wasn't anything that lasted any length of time. So I don't know like how this would have ended up. But so I wasn't like hyper aware of my body around her, you know, or even just like she drove a like huge motorcycle, you know, like there's just this feeling of like somehow I still felt, I guess to me, and maybe this would have been like a good fill in the blank one. It was like that feeling of like feeling petite feels, I don't know if it's like beautiful or hot or like it just feels like that's what I want to feel in relation with someone. Like I don't want to feel bigger than them. And I know that that comes from being raised in the 90s and the whole almond mom of it all. You know what I mean? Like I know that's where it comes from. I'm not saying that it's...
What's an almond mom?
An almond mom is a mom, if you're like, Mom, I'm hungry. And she's like, why don't you have some almonds?
That was your mom.
Yes. And a lot of people have moms like that who grew up, who are millennials.
Why don't you have some almonds? You're like, that sounds so unsatisfying.
I mean, but now I'm like, I would do that. You know, it's like, whatever, it doesn't matter. But yeah, so I think being with you, you're 4 inches taller than me, and at the time you were an even thinner person, like extremely thin. And so it wasn't like on a day-to-day basis, but I would say it was more like sexually. Like if I was like on top of someone, I don't want to feel like I'm crushing you. That doesn't make me feel great. If I'm like, can you breathe? Like, are you okay? You know? And even though it's not like that was what was actually happening.
Right.
And I had never, because I'm a pretty petite person, any guy who I've ever been with, this has just never crossed my mind, because it was never hard for a guy to be bigger than me because I'm pretty short and petite. And so even if I've dated a lot of like thin kind of surfer guys, but I never felt big with them because they were still guys, you know? Yeah. And so I did feel that sometimes, like, but more, and then I also felt it less around body image, but more like body capability with the strength factor. Because also when we first started dating, you were extremely weak.
Yes. I had a lot of health problems, guys.
You had a lot of health problems that you couldn't gain. And we didn't know this at the time. It was undiagnosed. And it wasn't just about like, I want you to carry my suitcase. It wasn't that. It was more like sometimes I felt like you couldn't keep up with me. Yeah. You know, when we're like on a hike or something, I'm like, come on. Like, so it was more about that. Like my lifestyle, I said, is very active. Yeah. And I also really prioritize strength and health. And you also didn't prioritize it. You didn't eat great. You just didn't really care about your body. And it wasn't that I cared about how your body looked. It was more that, like, why don't you care about your health? Yeah. Because also your health is impacting me. Yeah. Your limitations impact me. And if you don't take care of your health and you know, like that
impacts my life.
Right. Yeah. So that was, totally. But that was less around like the way you looked. That could have also been a dude who was acting that way, and I wouldn't have really liked that as much. But the strength, I was used to, again, any guy, even a thinner, not super active guy, was stronger than me. I had never been and even with that girl, she was stronger than me. She was jacked. I had never been the physical, stronger person in the relationship, and I didn't like that feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So interesting.
Yeah.
What are you gonna say?
I was gonna say, did you even notice any of this stuff?
I would say no, not really. Like we have probably like very different body image experiences in general. Like for me, my body wasn't really something I thought about that much. Like
exactly, that was the problem for me. It was like you were just a floating head.
Yeah, it's like I don't know. I've always been like kind of tall and thin my whole life. And, you know, like when I was younger, like in sports and stuff, I was always like really athletic and everything. And it's just, as I grew up, like one of the things you've always said to me is like, usually in college, like your body, like, you know, you hit a certain age and your body starts to change and you have to be more aware of the things you're eating. And so that's usually when people like learn how to cook for themselves or like kind of learn about nutrition. And like, that never happened to me. It never happened where like, I could pretty much always eat anything I wanted. My body would always stay the same.
I also think, and I could be wrong, but even just now that you're after, you know, being diagnosed with your autoimmune stuff and gaining weight in a good, healthy way and everything. Yeah. But when there have been times that your body even does change, I feel like it doesn't bother you the way that it does most. So it's like, even if in college you did, when you studied abroad in Italy, you're like, yeah, I got fat. You're like, I gained like 20 pounds and you're like, I don't care. You're like, yeah, I ate a bunch of pizza and pasta and drank every night. Like,
yeah, that's what I was going to say.
But like, you don't feel anything about it.
My whole life, like my biggest challenge was actually gaining weight. Like I was always like underweight and it was like, not for a lack of trying. It was like always eating, like
and
constantly.
Gaining muscle too.
Yeah, and gaining muscle. Like I could just never gain weight, and it was just like I was too skinny. And people are always like, "Oh, like it's so annoying for you to say." It's like no, but genuinely, like it was something. That was the thing that I was always thinking about. Was like I'm too skinny and I can't like gain weight. And like when I did gain weight, it didn't bother me. Like I studied abroad, right. I ate and drank way too much, and I gained like 15 pounds, and none of my pants fit, and I was just like, guess I'm kind of fat, you know, like whatever.
And you still say that now. You'll be like, I'm feeling a little doughy.
Yeah,
you know?
It doesn't bug me. I'm just like, yeah, I'm just kind of like.
But you don't feel guilt. You don't feel shame. It doesn't impact your self-worth. Like, no. It's so non-emotional. You're just like, oh, it's a fact right now. And like, also, I know it's going to go away once I get back in my habit again. Like, exactly. You just don't care.
It doesn't like affect me. And I would say like when I did get diagnosed with everything and like finally understood like why my body was the way it was and like things started to click, like I gained a lot of weight in a short amount of time. I gained, I don't know, 15 pounds in 3 to 6 months. And it's kind of like been, I don't know, maybe I've gained more since. I don't really know. I don't like weigh myself, but like there was like a few things that happened where I was like, oh, now I have to like buy new clothes. That was more like the biggest thing. And the other biggest thing that I was like, this is annoying, is that like my butt got really big.
I was wondering if you were going to say it.
And I was like, I don't like this.
Right.
That was like, everything else I was like, I liked, because I'm like, I gained a lot more muscle like now, and I've been working out like consistently like 5-6 days a week for over a year now. And so I have a lot more muscle, and so like physically I'm like much stronger, like my surfing's improved, like I have all these like benefits that I really enjoyed. But the one thing that I don't like is that my butt got big. And it's because I feel like it makes me feel like
more feminine.
It's like I don't like the shape of my body.
Right.
Most people I think would like the shape of my body as a woman. It's like more pear-shaped. Right. Like
you have like a flat stomach and wider
like
hips.
A little bit wider hips. And I'm like, I want to have like broad shoulders and small hips like my wife.
Yeah, I'm shaped like a triangle. Yeah. So I'm basically like a swimmer or like a gymnast, you know, where it's like both of my parents could be linebackers. Like all of us have big shoulders. Such broad shoulders.
I love it. It's so
like
attractive.
Skeletal. It's not just the muscles,
but structural.
It's structural. So it's like, of course, I also have big shoulders, and then genuinely no hips. Like it's hard. Hips. It's hard for things to stay on my hips. I don't.
Like your jeans are always falling off you because your hips are so small. And I'm like, how did you get hips like that?
Right. Which is, I mean, I literally have the exact same body as my mom.
Yeah.
Exact same body. And yeah, so when we're talking skeletally, there's nothing that you can do if you're, you know, but I think this happens a lot. And we're talking right now as women and mostly about women. Men have a different experience. I can't speak to that, but it's like with women, a lot of the times it's like we kind of want what we don't have, or it's like, oh, well, and you see that with everything down to straight hair, curly hair, you know, you're always like, oh, but if I had it this way, you know, and I don't know. It's just at a certain point, it's like, how do you just accept it, you know?
Yeah.
And because it is exhausting. It's exhausting to wish for something that is
for sure
not possible, or only possible with an insane amount of surgery, which like, do you want to do, you know?
And luckily it's like, well, I feel like that's the nice thing about fashion is, like, yes, I don't, like, love my hips, but there's, like, the way that I dress, I feel like you can downplay the size of your hips or whatever. Like, you can do things with
you're not
going to
be wearing a crop top to show off the curve of your hips.
No, if you see me in a crop top...
Send for help.
If you see me in a crop top, like, it will make you laugh.
That's not... But this is what I tell you all the time. It's because of your physical... It's like if you put a sweater...
I look so weird in a crop top.
You know when you put a sweater on a dog and they just kind of like freeze and they get super weird and put their head down and they're like, Mom, like, why are you doing this? That's what you do in a crop top. You're like, what is that? And I'm like, you can like be free. You can move your arms. No. It's like you don't know how you get so stiff. It's hilarious.
It just doesn't make sense. I think that like my body, it's like I just look like a twink.
Okay, over Thanksgiving, I dressed you. Yes. And I know your style very well. I'm never going to dress you in something that is to embarrass you, you know? Like, I feel like I can nail it when I help dress you or buy you clothes. And you looked very cute. You were wearing black pants and a white dress shirt with a sweater vest over it.
And some like cool boots. Yeah.
Right.
I look great.
Yeah. So it was like casual, but still a little dressed up. The sweater vest was mine, by the way. And I actually wore that to Thanksgiving, I think 2 years before. A similar outfit, but a little bit more femme. Yeah. And it was so funny because at Thanksgiving, one of your brothers, he was like, yeah, like, I like your outfit. You kind of... Like, he, like, didn't know how to say it, you know? Like, you kind of look like a gay dude, you know? And I was like, you can say it. She looks like a twink. It's fine. And your family is so, like, like, are we allowed to, was that, like, a slur? Like, they don't understand. You know, like, some straight people, like, don't know what's safe for them to say.
Or to laugh at.
Yeah. So I'm like, no, it's fine. She is 100% a twink. Like, that's what she is. It's okay. You can say it.
It was amazing.
But...
It made them feel so awkward.
Yeah, they were like, oh, God.
Do you ever feel like because you're femme that you're, like, under more pressure to be, like, conventionally hot?
Well, okay, so this is the thing that I had said at the beginning of the episode where it's, like, being a gay woman, specifically a lesbian, which, like, I don't identify as a lesbian because I'm bi. But I feel like almost politically, I am a lesbian. You know, like that idea of like lesbian not just being a sexual orientation, but really it is like a political stance from back in the day. Like that's how it was intended. And that I feel more connected to than you do, for instance, you know, where it's like I am more of a feminist in that way. But anyways, it's like being in any way gay woman, whether it's bi, lesbian, whatever, but it's one of the, beyond just who you're fucking, you know, beyond that sexual part of it, I feel like part of the point is also to look at that, how much are you centering men in your life? And it's being queer as an identity is more about just who you're sleeping with. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like an alternative way of being holistically. For sure. Way beyond sex. And specifically with queer women, that is kind of the main thing that we're meant to, you don't have to if you don't want to, but like the main thing that is sort of prompted to us is like, how much are you centering men? So it's like as femme women, I don't feel like I center men, but I've said this before in an old episode, like I still get Botox, you know, like I still dye my grays. I still do things that it's like that is...
I have an interesting thing.
I know what you're going to say.
No, you have no idea what I'm going to say.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I didn't realize that this thing that I do is maybe not what other people do.
Okay.
Okay, so when I get dressed and I'm looking at myself in the mirror, I'm dressing myself for like how attractive I think I look. Mm-hmm. I look at myself and I'm like, fuck yeah, I look good. So when I feel like I walk out in the street, I'm like, I just know I look good. I don't know how to explain it. But a lot of people, like what I've heard is like, they're getting dressed to see like...
how they should look.
Will their best girlfriend think they're hot? Or like...
or a guy they
like. Or like if they go out and they know they're going to an event, will the men there think that they're hot? I'm like, I'm doing it for myself.
Yeah, that's the goal.
And it's not like if I go to this party, like, do I think the other queers are going to think I'm hot? I'm like, I know I look hot, or whatever it is. It's a weird thing. I realize, like, I do that, and that's not what other people are doing when they're getting dressed or they're looking at themselves in the mirror.
Well, a lot of people do that, who have confidence, but there's also a lot of people who don't do that. And I also do think another difference that can happen is being single or not. Because, like, there's this idea, gay, straight, whatever, once you're married, you let yourself go. Because you're like, well, they're stuck with me. They have to think I'm hot. You do kind of stop trying as hard. And not everybody.
Do you stop trying?
I feel like I've always been a jizz stain to you. So when you met me, I owned one dress and like 2 pairs of shorts. I've always been a little bit disgusting, just like that jungle cat vibe. So no, I think this is just who I am. But I'm the same as you, where it's like, yes, I get dressed for myself. My priority is feeling comfortable. So that's down to the material. Like, I'm a freak about synthetic stuff. It really irritates my skin. It's like, it's what I'm wearing. I want to feel physically comfortable in what I'm wearing. I don't like wearing super tight stuff most of the time. Like, I want to feel comfortable. When I feel comfortable, then I feel hotter. Mm-hmm. But I do think it does make a difference when you're in a relationship versus being single. If you're in a relationship where you feel secure and you're like, oh yeah, this person... Oh gosh, our dog is farting again, you guys. I'm sorry. Well, you don't care. You can't smell it. Only we can. I don't know why I'm apologizing to you. But just hold your breath. So bad. Hold your breath. But yeah, because I think someone could be like, well, easy for you to say, Alix. Like they almost feel like they have to care about how other people might perceive them because they're still trying to find a person.
This is how I felt when I was single, though, too.
No, I know. Obviously, the goal is to do it for yourself and to know that your right person is going to think your style, the way you are, is hot.
Yeah.
But I do think it plays a role for people.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just an interesting thing.
Are you going to read some of the submissions? You haven't read any of them.
I didn't know that's what I was supposed to be doing. I was just like chitter-chattering about everything.
I explained it to you before we started recording twice. But.
Okay, well, we had some submissions about body image, and they're kind of like hot takes, essentially.
Yeah.
So, let's see. Dating someone very confident can make my body image feel worse.
Ooh. So it's like agree or disagree?
No, like that's a statement.
No, I know.
What do you think? Like, have you ever had that experience?
I don't think so. It hasn't made me feel worse because it's like I feel like you're very... I said this to you the other day. We were talking about aging. We weren't talking about body image. I mean, they go together, but... And we were talking about something with aging and how, like, you'll look better. And I was like, well, yeah, because you generally like yourself more, so that's going to age well. And you're like, yeah, probably. So, but that doesn't make me feel worse that you have more. You know what I mean? It's just more apparent. It makes me...
You're not a big comparison girly. You compare...
No.
Like, you've talked to me about this before, like... You compare yourself to yourself.
Well, I said that earlier in this episode.
Yeah. Oh, that was today.
That was like 20 minutes
We talked
ago.
about this a lot, where it's like you don't always compare yourself to others. It's always to yourself, and so it doesn't affect you that I feel a certain way.
No, like someone having more of something doesn't make me feel like I have less. It just makes me. It can make me feel a little sad for myself. Like, oh, I wish I could get to where they are. It makes me feel sad that I can't do that for myself, but not like hate myself for it. There's a difference between that sadness and like self-loathing, I think. You know?
Okay. All right, here's another one. Masc bodies are allowed to be mid in ways femme bodies aren't.
Well, that's called misogyny entering the queer world, I think. Because masc bodies are, you know how like when straight people, remember that lady at the airport a couple of weeks ago who was talking to me and she was very odd and she was talking so close to my face. And I said, and she's like, oh, who are you traveling with? And I was like, my wife. And she's like, oh, I didn't know you were gay. Like, you just don't look gay at all. So, like, that's weird. And then you happen to walk up and she's like, oh, so you're the dude or you're the man? And I was like, what the fuck?
I was like, why are you talking to this person?
I didn't,
rental car's ready. Let's fucking
obviously,
go.
I wasn't wanting to. But anyways, a lot of straight people do that, you know, where they're like, oh, so you're the dude. And it's like, no, she's the woman. She's not the dude just because you have short hair or you look, and masc is literally an abbreviation for masculine, which is usually synonymous with being a man. Yeah. So I think, to me, that is misogyny kind of coming into the queer world of men are allowed to have dad bods. Remember Rat Boy Summer? Like, ew. Why are those things were like, oh my God, yeah, he has a little like dad bod, this little pooch, like it's so cute. And it's like, why is that cute on him, but if a woman had that, she would be blasted all over a tabloid, you know? Mm-hmm. Why is being a rat boy now cool? Ew. But a girl could never be a rat girl and be cool. so it's almost like saying a masc woman who they are making synonymous with a man be able to be mid. It's like, well, that's just because you think it's okay for men to. Most women are, and I'm not just saying this because I'm gay as fuck. This is a fact. Scientific fact, women are more attractive than men.
Oh, by far.
It's a lot harder to find a man that's like, wow, he is hot or beautiful or even cute. Whereas like most women, I would say a majority of women are beautiful, are attractive. Yes. So it's like,
I agree with that statement.
And it almost feels like because of that, then we give guys more leeway. Like, why do girls wear makeup and guys don't? You know, why do we have to? We don't have to. Try harder. We don't have to, obviously. We can all rebel and not do that. That's what I mean. It's like I do those things. So I clearly haven't stopped decentering men to a degree. Yeah. If we're talking about, like, that's like the patriarchy. But, I mean, we're really getting into it. But can we get through an episode without me saying patriarchy? I don't know if you guys let us know. But I think that's what that is, where it's like, masc bodies can be mid, but femme bodies have to look a certain way. That's just bringing gender identity of straight relationships into the queer world.
Amen. I confuse aesthetic attraction with romantic attraction. I do that too.
Who are you romantically attracted to?
No.
Honey.
I just mean like, you know when you see someone who has like really good style and they're just like, yeah, they're like really confident, really style, or they have the body type that you want, and you're like, damn, like, and you're just like, it's really like an appreciation of their aesthetic. It's not like you're into them, you know?
But then you're not confusing it.
Oh, okay.
I was going to say, I can't relate to that. I historically have dated my friends. It's been the opposite, where I'm like, I'm actually not, when I first met you, I wasn't, not you, but even you, I guess. It's not like I met you and was like, oh my God, she's so hot. I like don't know what to do with myself. But it was like, it's not that I thought.
You weren't?
It's not like I thought you were ugly, of course. But it's like the thing that attracted to me more was like you. And then as we grew closer, just as friends, then I became even more and more and more attracted to you. Mm-hmm. And I've had that experience with a lot of people to where it's like, for me, if I think someone's really hot, I actually don't want to talk to them. Because I'm not saying all hot people suck. There's lots of hot, nice people. I haven't met a lot of them. Or as friends, yes. Yes. But I'm talking about to hook up with. And so I kind of tried to avoid like crazy. I'm talking, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like really model. People,
yes. Yeah. It's like, no. So I don't mistake it for romantic attraction. I need to know the person.
Good. Let's see.
Come on, honey.
I'm trying to think. Some of these I don't know if I want to say.
Okay.
Do you feel like the hotter partner usually has more power in the relationship?
Not always.
I think it's the most confident person usually has the most power.
Yeah, I think that's true. Well, no, it's not always. It could be money. Because think about like really old dudes with like a hot young wife or even a hot young husband. Usually the older dude who's probably decrepit and wrinkly and has saggy balls. So he's like not hotter, but he has power from his age and from his money, you know?
Yeah.
But sometimes, yes, the hotter person has more power, but I don't think always.
This person is saying that they compare themselves more to other queers than to like straight people, like in terms of hotness. Do you do the same? I do.
I don't know. Tell me more.
Like for me, it's like I don't like when I'm around straight people, I'm not like comparing myself to be like, am I hotter than this person? But when I'm around like queer people, I feel that more, where it's like you feel more of a, and maybe it's because I look more gay than you do.
Me?
Like if I'm at like a gala and it's all fucking straight people, I'm just like, I don't compare myself
When
to
have you ever been to a gala?
Many times.
What are you talking about? You have never been to a gala since I've known you.
No, well, for work things, yes. Many like galas, these like fancy
the next
Christmas
gala
parties
we go to.
And stuff like that, charity events.
Okay.
When I lived in a city, they don't have them in
I was gonna say,
Nicaragua.
I don't know what
They don't have them in Nicaragua, but I'm like, I wonder, I don't know, do you feel that at all?
Well, we kind of talked about my comparison thing already. I feel like I compare myself mostly with myself.
Yeah.
Less with other people.
Okay.
And I don't think and I do compare myself to other people, obviously. I'm not saying I never do. I'm not going to care if they're gay or straight. That doesn't matter to me.
Okay, this person says queer people are expected to be more evolved about bodies.
Yes.
And like body positivity. Agree. Do you think that's true?
Yes, because I think being queer is now, not just now, it has been for a long time. Like I said, it's political.
Yeah.
It isn't, in the sense there's a lot of queer people who are not liberal, but typically people think of a queer person as being liberal, and liberal is associated with body positivity and inclusivity and all sizes matter and all of those things. And so I think that's where those assumptions come from. Mm-hmm. What do you think?
I think that you're right. I think I don't know why it's like you said, like you're like a political lesbian, essentially, even though you're bi, right? And I think it's like, yeah, for whatever reason, like queerness is so enmeshed with politics and...
Well, I don't think for whatever reason. I think the reason is that it had to do with rights, and for the most part, liberals are known for focusing on social justice matters.
Yeah.
And like identity politics, and these are all things that are obviously extremely important to the queer community, because we didn't used to have the rights that we have, and so most people are going to be voting liberal if they want those rights.
Yeah.
I think that's
I just don't understand how like being queer aligns with like or creates politics around like the way your body looks as well. Like I guess I like don't understand, I think it is true what you're saying.
I think the greater issue is that everything is politicized now.
Yeah.
Your diet is politicized. If you say I eat carnivore, people assume you voted a certain way.
That's crazy.
You know, so I think that's the greater, it's not just about queers. Straight people are affected by this too. And I think overall, understanding that you can vote one way and not believe 100% of the things that is on that agenda, you know?
For sure.
And if anything, hopefully you don't, because that to me is a sign of extremism. If you're like, I don't care. If it's liberal, then I'm in. Versus, you know, okay, I do kind of agree with this side, but I'm not, it doesn't mean I am conservative, but I do agree with this point, you know, like allowing that diversity of thought. So I think in general, whether you're gay, straight, whatever, it's just like not assuming because one component of someone's identity either makes them either political party, but then also even if they do vote in the way that you assume that they vote, that means that they believe every single thing that's a part of that campaign, so to say, because that's just not the case for most people.
Yeah. Just interesting. I know we're like wrapping up the topic, but what did we miss about the body image topic? Did we... cover everything we wanted
Well,
to?
I feel like the main thing too with yours, you know how you're talking about like you don't love like the hips or like the butt and stuff as much, and it's the body image in relation to gender identity. You know what I mean? Because and like you had said, you're like, because it kind of makes me feel more feminine.
Yeah.
And so it's like, while you didn't have the experience of an almond mom or of you, not really, you also, I grew up in California, you grew up in the Midwest in Wisconsin. So even just like diet and culture around diet and diet culture was very different.
Totally
Foods
different.
that were available to us were very different. So you didn't grow up with that like core millennial girl moment of the low fat and the non-fat and the like learning how to count your calories at a super young age.
No.
And how you never learned how to hate your body.
No.
Because the reality is that we aren't born hating our bodies. We learn how to.
Yeah.
Based on examples that we see from our moms, from our sisters, from TV, from social media, whatever. And you never learned how to do that. But you felt discomfort sometimes. Maybe discomfort isn't the right word, but almost like a dissatisfaction in your body, more so because you didn't feel, you're like, oh, like, yeah, I wanted to look this way.
Yeah,
like
I wanted a different shape.
Yes.
I want your shape. I want wide shoulders and small hips, and like I want to be muscular.
Right. But that's more about the gender identity of it.
Yes.
Less about like this emotional
Connection,
worth
yes,
of like,
to the body.
I feel less of a person. I feel less hot. I feel less beautiful. It's more of just like, that would feel more like me. Like my insides and outsides would match.
True.
You know what I mean? But the feeling of feeling uncomfortable in your own body or dissatisfied in your own body is the same.
Yeah.
It's just like the root of that dissatisfaction is different. And then I think the way it manifests as far as like a lot of women on my end, and probably a lot of our listeners, I feel like can relate more to me, you know, that like core millennial woman experience, where it's not just that you learn how to hate it, but then it's the behaviors around it, where it's restriction and punishment and like it's that obsessiveness that comes with it, and the way that you start hurting yourself, you know, whatever variant that is, around food and exercise and withholding. And it's because of all of that, that's why the body positivity movement has happened, you know?
That's so true.
So it's like, I do understand that part of it. And also, I believe that diet and exercise matter. I don't think there's anything wrong with saying you want to lose weight. I don't think that should be demonized either. I think people should be autonomous in their bodies. And as long as they aren't hurting themselves or anyone else, then let them live, you know?
Yeah,
so
let them live.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, who's your problem for this week?
Okay, so this is in relation to everything we just talked about. But it's like, you know, we talked about decentering men and the patriarchy, as we do. Mm-hmm. But it's like, who is the problem when it comes to body image? Is it men? Because that's often what we say. We're like, well, we're this way as women. This is what we say. We're this way, and this has happened because of men, and because we've centered men, and because of the patriarchy. Or is it because of other women for upholding the patriarchy? You know what I mean? Because it's like, if it's not being upheld, then it's not something that's going to rule us. And also, I find a lot of the times we are doing these things more so for women than men. Not just because we're gay. I'm talking about straight girls too.
I know.
Because most dudes
don't even notice.
They don't notice. They don't care. They like,
really don't.
You can dye your hair a whole ass different color, and he might be like, what? Oh yeah, I guess, yeah, it's a little different. You're like, what? I just cut bangs. Like, what? You know, it's not.
They think you look amazing if you're wearing jeans and a t-shirt versus like super dressed up. Like, they're just like, you're hot. But, you know, they don't notice.
Women, we're very detail oriented. We're laser focused. We've been trained like freaking snipers to compare ourselves to other women, to see them as threats, competition. So we're looking her up and down. We're like, oh my God, is that like,
I think it's the women doing it to themselves in a lot of ways. Genuinely.
Yeah.
That's been my experience.
Yeah. I don't know my own answer about this.
Some guys, of course, are like super judgmental and whatnot, but like the majority of dudes are like, they just think women are attractive and like, you know, like you look decent, like they're going to think you're so hot.
Yeah.
Like we already decided, like women are more attractive than men anyways. you know?
We already decided that.
And they're just like, I think that they're just like super grateful to be able to hook up with somebody who's attractive.
As they should be.
As they should be. They're not noticing all these details or the things that you're thinking and obsessing about. They don't even notice it.
Yeah.
So.
But then it's like, were we taught those things from misogyny, from the patriarchy? You know what I mean? It's like, probably. But then it's like up to us. Like it's almost disempowering sometimes, I think, to just blame everything outside of yourself. Even if there's some truth in that, where it's like, yes, we've been indoctrinated and we have to literally like suck that poisonous gas out of us. But then it's like taking back your own power of being like, yeah, okay, I did learn it from this thing, but I am going to overcome that and like undo that and unlearn it. Yeah. And it's kind of like sharing the responsibility. So maybe it's like a shared who's the problem. They're both the problem for different ways. Like the origin is the patriarchy, but then it's like the current right now, it's like up to us to undo that then. You know, like we can do something about that. Yeah. We're not
I don't know
powerless.
If it's the patriarchy, to be honest.
Well, I think the way that a way that women have been oppressed is through propaganda and media and everything. It's
for sure.
like
yeah.
all of that telling you to focus on these things, that takes up so much of your brain space. If you are committing so much of your brain space to caring about the size of your waist, the chances of you being able to be a CEO are slimmer because you don't have the capacity to do both. So that does come from the patriarchy. That's what I mean by it's like that was taught to us. And now it's our responsibility, I think, to undo that and overcome. That's my take.
But I'm like, was that taught to us? Because I'm like, I don't think about those things.
Right.
And it's like, I grew up in the same environment as everyone else. So it's like, I don't know if that's true. Is it? Maybe.
I don't think it applies to everybody. I don't think anything can apply to everybody. But the majority of women, yeah, I would say would probably relate more to my experience with body than yours. For sure. I get it. Because I'm like, but I don't know. Like, here's the thing. It's like, I think about being in high school or like being in middle school and I'm like dating boys. I never dressed in a super feminine way. I was always like a very sporty person, like very, because I think unconsciously you didn't want to be noticed by boys.
And it's like, no, but I did. And always like the most attractive people were always like interested in me in school and stuff. And it was like, I don't know. I just had a very different experience about a lot of these things. And I'm like, I don't know why that is. Right. I can't answer. It's like all my friends around me were thinking about those things. And I just thought like, that's weird.
But that's my point is that the majority is what I'm talking about. You are the minority. That's not representative.
No, I get it. But I'm like, why does that happen?
Why does anything happen that way? That's how personalities work.
It's just interesting.
But that's what I'm saying. So just because it didn't impact you doesn't mean it's not the patriarchy that did it.
Sure.
You know?
That could be true.
Yeah. Who's your problem?
Well, I don't know. I'm always the problem, apparently. It's like not a full who's the problem.
Okay.
But I'm going to just say it, okay?
Yeah.
It's more of a like, why do we do this to ourselves?
Okay.
And I know that I'm the problem. But I think we're all the problem because I think we all do this.
Just say what it is.
Okay? You know how every single person has like one thing about themselves that they just don't like?
Yeah, like can't get over.
And it's just like, God, it's just like such this like weird thing.
And you like, that's the first thing you see in the mirror.
Yeah. Okay, mine's the size of my ears.
I was wondering if you were going to say it. Yeah.
Mine, why do I have such large ears? Like, why? I have such a tiny head and like my ears are so giant. It's like, and now I'm just like, now I'm thinking about my ears when I'm looking at myself in the mirror. And I'm like, I know I'm an attractive person, but why are my ears so big? Like, why does that happen? And it's like, why do we do that to ourselves? And like, no one else is noticing the size of my ears. Now you are, because I'm telling you.
That's what I was going to say. That's the real problem.
That's the real problem. Now you guys are all going to notice how big my fucking ears are.
Alix.
But it's like, why do we do that to ourselves?
Okay, well, this is the greater thing. Whatever your insecurity is, don't tell people. I never looked at your ears before. And then when you told me that, I was like, oh, they are big. But like, I think, of course, it's cute, you know? But it's like most people don't notice the thing.
Well, I'm telling you guys because this is a safe space and you're not going to judge me for the size of my ears, right? But even if you did, it's okay.
Yeah. So, but that is the greater problem, is that it like, you're calling attention to, not you, but anyone. Exactly. You end up calling attention to it, and then
no one else noticed.
Actually, now that you mention it, it is that way. And then you're like, see, I knew they were, and then it becomes this whole cycle.
It's a whole thing. Why do we do that to ourselves?
I bet there's a scientific, psychological reason for it.
Because every person has one thing. Mm-hmm. You may have multiple, but like everybody has the one thing where you're like, such a weird phenomenon.
Like, is it just the human need to feel misery in some way? Because the thing is like, people have their one thing, they get plastic surgery or injectables or whatever, and that one thing then transfers to another thing.
That's so true.
So then it's like...
Because you like always have to have one thing you don't like about yourself.
So there probably is something literally in our brains.
I want to know if there's anyone out there who doesn't experience this.
I'm sorry, I wouldn't believe you. I wouldn't.
But you wouldn't have believed that I kind of like have the mentality that I have around.
But you still have a thing.
I do. I still have a thing.
That's what I mean. Even the most confident people, you still have a thing.
Oh, yeah.
You can love yourself. I love myself.
I know you do.
But I still have more than one thing. It's like you can be confident and healthy in your mentality, everything. And you could still, I just wouldn't believe someone that says, no.
Even guys do it too.
Exactly.
Even guys have their one thing.
Oh, yeah. So that's what I mean. I wouldn't believe them, but,
So I don't know. It's not really who's the problem, but it was just something I wanted to say.
Yeah, I like it.
Okay, cool.
Well, we love you.
That was a good one. I like that.
Yeah, I'm sure. I feel like people will have more questions. Yeah. Because in some ways, it kind of feels like just scratch the surface, and there is so much to say.
We could go in a lot of directions with it.
Because one thing I do want to say that maybe for a part 2 to this is also the way that body image impacts lesbian relationships. Because sometimes when, like I said, 2 women are together, it's like you can start feeding off each other. Mm. And because women historically have more body image issues, it's like the chances of you both feeling bad in your body at the same time are high. Like, I think that has to do with lesbian bed death. I think...
Or it's like, if you think that you look this way and I'm bigger than you or whatever, then I must be disgusting. Right. I'm sure people
I've said that to you. When you say things about yourself, I'm like... If you're saying that about yours, like, what about mine? Mine is bigger than yours. Can you not say that? Because because my mom used to do that. And like I said, we have the same exact body. So it was like,
wow.
But she would be like, no, you're beautiful and perfect. She never said anything. Of course, she was so loving to me about my body, but our bodies looked exactly the same and you hated yours. So it taught me that mine is also bad.
Wow. We could go a lot deeper.
Part 2.
So tell us where you want us to go with it.
Part 2. Let us know. We love you.
We love you.